This is going to be a position I give out a lot as part of a little warm-up stability mobility sequence. It has 3 parts to it. So we're going to start off with the first part. I'm going to lay on my back. I'm going to have my arms up in the air. I'm going to have my feet up in the air, knees bent to about 90 degrees. Okay. Now, one arm is going to lead the way. These 3 pieces are going to move together. So I'm going to try and maintain some control as I press down into this arm and I bring my whole body onto my side. Right? First, I'm going to keep my knees pinned together as I rotate my upper body through my thoracic spine back into rotation. I'm going to bring this hand back. I'm going to anchor and press into the floor as I come back onto my back. Then I'll do the same thing to the other side. These 3 parts move together. I control the speed as I bring my whole body onto my side. I pin my knees together and I rotate my upper body back. If I want a little more stretch, as I'm coming over, I'll get my bottom leg out of the way. So as I'm coming over this way, I'll move my bottom foot so I can pin the inside of my top knee, which gets me a little further over, which is going to bind up a little bit more tension on the system if I want a little added stretch. Okay, one more time. Arm leads the way. I get my bottom foot out of the way. All of these move together. I pin the inside of my top knee to the ground, and I rotate back, and then I come back over. Okay? Move number 1. Number 2, I'm going to be sitting. Okay? Feet and knees a little bit apart. I'm going to let my knees pivot over. And I try and form somewhat of a line between my foot, my knee, and my foot. Everybody's used to pigeon pose in yoga where they bend their knee like this. Okay? So I want to keep my knee a little less bent. Sometimes I even tap the bottom of my heel to come up into a little bit more hip flexion. So I might bring this up a little bit out of that line, but this is still around 90 degrees. This is still around 90 degrees. All my weight right now is on my left butt cheek. My hand is just kind of next to my hip. This hand is going to reach past my knee with the goal of getting the weight off of my butt and onto my knee. So if I keep my back up pretty straight, it shouldn't take much for me to feel a pull into that bottom glute or the back of my hip. And I'm actively pressing my knee into the ground, almost like I'm starting to lift my backside off the ground a little bit. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to switch to the other side. So my knees are going to drop the other way. Okay? Hands just next to my hip. All my weight's on my right butt cheek. I'm going to shift my weight from my butt to my knee with a nice tall chest. I'm going to feel like my right hip starts to even come off the ground a little bit. I'm going to feel a pretty decent stretch back there. Okay, I want to watch it. I'm not going up this way. If I rounded my back too much like this, I don't feel any stretch here because I'm not actually advancing weight onto my knee, right? I'm just kind of looking at it. I want my whole chest and body to come off of my right hip. And as soon as I do that, I feel a stretch. As soon as I go from here, no stretch, to here, pretty good stretch. But the rounding of the back doesn't really add to it. It actually takes away from it. Okay? So one more time. Over. Hip to knee. Feel some tension. Back over. Hip to knee. Feel some tension. Third piece, last piece. Same movement. Same shift of my hip to my knee. I'm going to take a big step up and around. So I'm going to push on this hand. I'm going to push on this knee. And my leg is going to come all the way up and around. Okay? I can get a little bit of a hip flexor stretch here. I like to make sure my back is nice and flat. I want this heel out in front to be far enough away that I can get tension in the front of my hip. I'm going to bring this hand on the inside back down to the ground. I got to take a big step back and around with this leg as I sit down onto my butt. And then I go to the other side. Okay? Hand next to my hip. I get my weight forward onto this knee. I'm going to press into this knee to lift me up and around. Big step. Okay? Easy hip flexor stretch. Okay. Inside hand comes back down to the ground. Big step. All the way back. Okay? All the weight's on this inside knee, a little bit on the back toe. Okay? One more time. All the way around. I feel the tension in my bottom hip. I press into that knee. I take a big step. Yeah, I can do 3 to 5 easy hip flexor stretches, keeping my back nice and flat. I don't want to do any of this type of stuff, right? And on the inside, big step all the way back as I sink down onto my hip. Big reach, up and around. Ta-da.